Hi guys, welcome to another mood board madness. So this week my mood board is a bit on the pink side actually, which is kind of different. So just having a look at what might work. Using a photo of my daughter. This petaloo flowers I might use. That's a bit of gold contact that I do have the word perfect cut out of it. And some Studio Calico embellishments. These are some cards that I designed myself. I don't use them in the end. Colours were just not quite the right pinks, unfortunately. And just a whole heap of different scraps of cards that I've got. Oh, and the Studio Calico card there as well as some printable ones. Some Bella droplets, which don't get used. The birds are from Crafter's Corner. Paper doilies from Frenchville. A bit of scrap paper, I think that's from packaging from Charms Creations at some stage. Plus my Charms Creations, which I picked out quite a few different ones. What else have I got going into the bowl? Some cutouts, some washi, gold washi. A whole heap of die cuts that I've just had already cut. Some contact ones, other just paper that I've coloured. Some little clips. Freckled Fawn Arrow. Some Frenchville stars. And some enamel dots. As well as this piece of ribbon. And that's pretty much everything I've had chosen. I decided to just completely scrap that piece of paper and go with some watercolour on some white. So I'm just misting up the paper and just adding a bit of colour. You end up using a lot of water, you'll see. I do live in the in quite a hot climate, so I need a lot of water because they dry out really quickly up here. So you'll see me spraying water and adding water, but I just have to. They don't work otherwise. It's one thing I have learnt with using the watercolours. So just adding mostly pink, a little dash of blue. Just picking up the colours that were in that mood board. I grab this little thin brush here and I just splatter on some of the paint. Added a few darker colours in the splatters. And just splatter it in a diagonal sort of pattern, just so that your eye is drawn to that diagonal view. Just dry it off. So now, because it is a little bit warped, because the paper I'm using isn't the best, I just trim it down to add to this piece of cardstock. And you'll see me, I use a lot of tape, and at the end you'll notice I just tape it down a little bit more, just to get the warps out of it. Just move that cardstock around. I just realised I didn't quite cover that little hole that I'd punched out of it previously. Oh, sorry about the blur. It will refocus eventually. It's just because I'm moving in and out of view, so. Like I said, a lot of tape, but it definitely does help to stretch the paper out again and keep it flat. So that cardstock there is a piece of Kazaz cardstock, or it may have been leftover basil, which I also got through Kazaz, but I think it was bubble gum, so I'm not sure whether it was Kazaz or basil. So just having a look at my mood board again, just trying to see what will work. I'll try this little white doily out, a few of these cards. It's a bit hard to tell on this photo, but we'll see at the end when I put up the digital image. The teacup there has got quite a bit of blue, and that's actually in the colour swatch as well. Yeah, in the printout I think I'm running out of blue ink, so it didn't print as well, as strong as it should be. But I have picked up the colour blue a little bit better. I decided to switch that dot out for this gold one, just because there's gold in the mood board as well. And I just wanted to bring that in, so just trying that out from a few different angles and different ways. End up switching it back the other way, and that's that perfect that I'd cut out with my die cut. I think that's I can't remember whose handwriting that is, but it's like a digital cut file from the Silhouette store. And I want to use that as my title, so I just sat that on it just so I could work out roughly where to put everything else. And what is it? The transparency, the chevron on it. That's from Glitz Designs. I don't actually end up using it. I thought I could use that little flyaway card with the balloons. I thought I might be able to punch it out, but my punch isn't big enough. I needed about a 2.5 inch punch, and my biggest punch is a 2 inch circle punch, so I ended up not using it because I didn't want to destroy the poor card. So just messing about with these flowers, just sort of sitting them on, working out roughly where they might go. I'll try another piece of can't think of the word they're called. Transparencies. These ones are I can't think of what brand they are. Maggie Holmes, possibly. Might be wrong. Yeah, but none of them work, so I do leave them off. Just adding a bit of tape to that gold doily, because I did like the look at that in the end, so I go with that one. And I think I start with the photo. Yeah, I start with the photo, and I just start placing bits behind it, and then trimming off anything that's sort of I can get away with cutting off, just to get a little bit more stretch out of those papers. If you can't see it, it doesn't need to be there, so may as well use it somewhere else. That's my theory. So I just try and save as much of that paper as I can, and I do use them again. Just add a bit of tape, and I just realised I wanted to add a bit down the bottom. Just, hack off a bit of that as well. Sometimes I do literally just hack it off. But why not save it if you can? When you've got really pretty papers to work with, and they're not overly cheap when you think about it. And I'm on a tight budget, so I like to try and get as much out of my products as I can. Like I said earlier, that piece that I just put under there, that was a bit of packaging. So get the most out of your supplies as you possibly can, even if it does mean using the packaging. Sometimes the packaging is pretty. So like I said, I'm just using those scraps that I cut away, just to add a little bit of interest to the top of the page here. Just layering up different papers. Trying to decide where I want to tuck that little bit of blue. Just cutting away the excess there. Be happy with how that looks. So now I just play around with the embellishments. Trying to see whether that bow will work anywhere. I realised that I wanted to put that word on there first before I embellish too much, otherwise I'd run out of space for it. So this is my really bad attempt at putting on a word. Yeah, here's my head. Yep, right in the way. Yeah, I forgot that I need to untuck some of those words, and so they got a little bit twisted up. I just flick them back with the paintbrush badly. Yep, fan just blew the contact away. That's alright. Got it on there in the end. Doesn't look too bad. Still playing with that bow. It doesn't work. I need to let it go. Let me look at my chance creations and embellishments and seeing what I can do. Do I want to put it up in the cluster there, or do I want it somewhere else? And which one do I want to use? And I look at those petaloid flowers, and it just looked a bit odd with the different colours and the different shapes. So I grabbed another one that's the same shape, slightly the same colour, but at least then the same shape, and it didn't look too odd. So a couple of those little clips in. I'm grabbing the gold heart contact die cuts that I made earlier. Just dotting them out the top, and I think I dot some down the bottom too. Yep, didn't get it straight. I'm in a bit of trouble with those die cuts, getting them straight. I'm just popping in the flowers now. I decided to add one of these little birds from Crafter's Corner. Little blue birds on there, on that little heart. It's a mini heart from Child's Creations. Look, still trying to play that bow, trying to get it in there. Doesn't work. Like I said, let it go. Try and get it back off the tape. It's a lot easier when I've got my tape runner. But unfortunately, I've run out of tape for it, so I'm trying to use double-sided, and it's just not as good. So I go revert to the good old glossy accents. It works. I'm just trying to see what I can use up in the top one. I think it needs some flowers, so I've grabbed a couple of little small ones, but they're white, and they just looked a bit too stark against everything else. It's not like, especially with the other flowers, they weren't white as well, so I decided to colour them myself. So I try a couple of different options here. I find some mist, I think, yep. And this is Lindy Stamp Gang Cape Cod Coral. Just give it a bit of a spray. And I think, what's the other one? Distress ink, and that is, can't remember which colour. I didn't actually do a close-up of it, so I can't tell. And I just add some water just to sort of blend it in. It's one of the pinks, I can't think of which one it is. Yeah, so I decided to add them both in. I would have preferred having like a cluster of 3, but I just only had the 2, so I decided why not just go with it. Add another one of those little blue birds up in there, tucking them in there. I just add that little banner. I actually cut that out from the top part of that card, so I just decided to add it back in down the bottom. And just I want to add the date to it. Actually, you'll see in the end I still haven't done it, but I do add it eventually. But I don't have it in my photos either. So just adding a what's that? Kelly stamp, and I can't think of which one that is. I'm sure I'll see it when I stamp it, or not. I think it's I love you. Hashtag love you. I think. And I dropped it right on the layout. It was a bit of a dropsy episode, this one. And things blowing off my table and things being dropped, and yep. inked up stamp dropped straight on the layout. So I think, well, why not? You know, these things happen. Just, you know, cover it up, of course. So I'm just trying to decide what to use to cover it up. I decided to write in my journaling down there anyway. I wasn't going to put it there. Oh, actually, this is the one I used, the actual. Yeah, so I used the journaling. The journaling there is the quote on that piece of paper on my mood board. I think I said that for episode 1. I think I said the same thing, but I realise now it's actually a different quote I used on episode 1. But I used the style of writing. So to cover that actual dropsy off, the dropsy up, I used some more of those gold hearts because the journaling didn't cover it, so I cover it with the hearts. That just works. And this is where I realised that it's not quite, it's still a bit bowed at the edge, so I just tuck a little bit of taping under it. And I'm not sure whether any of you eagle-eyed viewers have noticed, but I actually haven't glued down that last flower that's sitting in the middle. And I don't realise it until I finish filming, and I didn't glue it down. It actually doesn't move again, so it is actually roughly where I glued it on. But yeah, I didn't do it whilst filming, so I was like, whoops. I'll even pick up the layout here in a second and show you, but I even tilted it and still didn't fall off. But it's not glued on. So I'm just giving you a close-up here now. So covered up the little smush. And I'm pretty happy with that. So there's the mood board, and thanks for watching. And be sure to click like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.